Yeah, well, the term rapture never occurs in the book of Revelation. And to everybody's great surprise, the concept is never found in the book of Revelation. The rapture is the doctrine that you find in fundamentalist and some conservative evangelical circles, that Jesus is coming back from heaven to take his followers out of the world before a 7-year period of tribulation, horrible suffering here on earth. But the followers of Jesus will not have to experience it because they'll be taken out. And that's called the rapture. That is a doctrine that, even though many millions and millions of Christians believe it, and they just assume it's in the Bible, but it's not. It's the first time somebody came up with the idea of this rapture before the tribulation on earth was in the 1830s. So throughout all of Christian history, nobody even thought of this one until modern times.
Wow, because there's the story, and well, this is actual history, but there's the story about in the year 1000, Pope Sylvester II was based off the book of Revelation, where it talks about the Satan being chained for 1,000 years, and after the 1,000-year reign is over, he's going to come back. And so you mean to tell me that during this time, people weren't waiting for a rapture; they were waiting for something else, some sort of war breakout.
The book of Revelation does say that Jesus is coming back, and this is a view that Paul has as well. It's a New Testament view. When Jesus comes back, he's coming to destroy his enemies. He's not coming back to take Christians out of the world. And so you get this, even in the New Testament, people turn to certain passages that appear to them to be references to the rapture. These were, when I was an evangelical Christian, we just believed that that's what these passages were saying. The most famous is in 1 Thessalonians chapter 4, verses 13 to 18, which says that when Christ returns, the dead in Christ will rise first, and then we who are alive, who are left at the time, says Paul, seems to be including himself among those who will be alive, when we who are left are alive, will be taken up with them to meet the Lord in the air. And wow, okay, that's the rapture, right? Yeah, it sounds like that when you take it out of its context. But what people fail to notice is that right after he says this, he continues with the same thought. It's a little bit hard in English Bibles, because in English Bibles, chapter 5 is separated from chapter 4. And so you think he's done talking now. But when Paul wrote, he didn't have chapters. He wasn't writing in chapters. He just wrote the next sentence. And when you start reading the next sentences, it's clear he's not talking about Jesus coming to take people out of the world in order to prevent them from being destroyed. He's coming to destroy his enemies. And when he destroys his enemies, the dead, those who are in Christ, whether dead or alive, will go and meet the Lord in the air. They're not going to live up in the air. They're meeting him there to bring him back down to earth. The way we know that is because the language that Paul uses is the language that you get in ancient texts to talk about what happens when a king comes to your city. You know in advance he's coming. When he comes, you send out the elders of the church, of the city, the leaders of the city, the rulers of the city. They go out to meet him, and then they escort him back in. That's the Parousia, the coming or the presence of the king. And this is what the Christians are going to do. They're going to go out and welcome their king, and then bring him back to rule. And so it's not that they're going to be taken to heaven for 7 years while all hell breaks out on earth. That's a later development from, as I said, from the 19th century.